Hey guys, it's Jamieson Beatz from Elevate Studios, and today I'm going to be looking at recording audio in FL Studios. A lot of people think that FL Studios is not great for recording vocals and recording other types of audio, but in terms of processing and so on, it's just as good as anything else. Editing is not as smooth as some other DAWs, but mixing is fine and you should be able to get everything done in FL Studio. So if you're good at using FL Studio, it doesn't make sense to go and learn another DAW just for editing and mixing and recording. So I can do everything in FL Studio, so I just use it for my entire process from making the beat to mastering. All the way across, I use FL Studio and it works fine for me. Today we're going to look at the process that I use and I'm going to show you what I do and why I do it. Let's get right into it. First thing you're going to have to do is obviously open FL Studio. Once you open FL Studio, the next thing I suggest you do is you save the project. So I want my song to be named Ghostbusters. So what I will do is I will save. I always make a folder for the project that I'm going to be working on. So we have Ghostbusters. And then in that folder, I will save my FLP file with the same name, Ghostbusters. That's the first step. The next step is to go into your project general settings and click this button here, auto. When you click auto, it means that all the data that you record is going to be saved in the same folder as your FLP file. That is why it's important to make a folder and put your FLP file in it just for that project. Once you get that done, then we can go ahead and set up our audio settings. Usually I will use my direct RCO driver for my interface. I have my UMC Euphoria 404, I think, connected right now. So that is the driver I would usually use. Right now I'm not using it. I'm using the FL RCO driver. That's because my screen grab software is also recording at the same time. So I don't want to mess with it too much, so I'm using this. But I suggest you use the driver that is directly associated to your interface. The buffer length, I would actually suggest a high buffer length. A high buffer length is going to mean that you get more latency, but that won't matter with the way that we're going to be doing it. So put it at a high buffer length, and that way if you processing anything while you're recording, your computer will be able to keep up. It means you're going to be using less CPU and less load on your computer, and that's a good thing. Okay, so once you have that set up, what you can do now is find the audio that you're going to put into FL. I suggest that you use a WAV file, a single WAV file for your music. If you're going to record vocals over some music, then I suggest that you mix down the music into a single WAV file and you put it into FL. You can use an MP3, but then FL still has to de-encode it. A WAV file is the best thing to use because FL Studio just deals with it better. So I'm going to drag my MP3 across. Notice that it had to de-encode up there. If it was a WAV file, it wouldn't have to de-encode. Next thing you're going to want to do is set your project to the tempo of your music. If you used FL to make the music, that's really easy. You just go to detect tempo and it will be embedded and it will set it for you. If not, you're going to have to do that manually and try to match it, or you have to find out from whoever made the music what was the tempo and then match it. That's important because it'll make it really easy to drag and drop things across and still keep them in timing. I always set my music to channel 1, and depending on the volume, then I would have to bring it down. I know in this case that I will have to bring it down, and the reason I'm bringing it down is so that when I am balancing what my singer hears in the headphones, they will have a good balance between the vocals, which I'm going to make come straight from the interface, and the music, which I'm going to send to the interface from the computer. After that, you just need to make sure you set up everything on your interface. Okay, so firstly, I have my mic connected. I have it in input 2. And that means that I have to turn up the volume of input 2, put it to a reasonable volume, something that will work well. Depends on your singer what you adjust. And then I turn off my monitors, which is connected to my main output. And next I adjust the mix knob. What that does is it balances between the mix coming in to the interface and the mix from the computer coming back to the interface. So I set it somewhere here so that the singer can hear themselves and they can still hear the stuff coming from the DAW. And my headphones are connected to my headphone amp. Right now I only have one connected, but if I'm working with a singer, then I'd have two connected so they can hear themselves and I can hear them as well. Make sure that you have phantom power on if you're using a condenser mic. Alright, so we have that down. The next thing we're going to do is set up a channel on the mixer that will be used to record the audio. I know that I'm using input 1, so I would select that. Once you select it, you will notice that the audio signal starts to register on the channel, and you will see this red little dot at the bottom that tells you that this channel is armed for recording. Usually I would take that out on the master, the reason being I don't want the singer to hear that signal which has a latency on it that can throw off a singer, right? A lot of singers hate to hear that signal with the latency. Anybody, musicians, singers, whatever it is, if they're going to hear a delayed signal, it can throw them off. So you take that out on the master. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to channel 2, but I'm going to take out the signal. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm using FL Studio 12. If I was using FL Studio 20, then it wouldn't really matter. If I'm using FL Studio 12, when I record, then the audio that I record is going to be routed to the channel that the first channel that this is routed to, which in this case is channel 2. So after I record the audio, right there, it's going to be set to channel 2. If not, then it's going to be routed to the first channel that this is routed to, which is channel 100. So when you start to play back, you're going to hear it with only the delayed signal. That brings me to another point. If you notice, I have two send channels here, delay and reverb. To get that, all I did was I went to the template and I chose delay and reverb. I actually usually use my own template that I made that has delays and reverb as well, but everybody that has FL Studio should have access to this one, so that is why I chose it for the tutorial. What I will then do is I will send some signal from this to the reverb and to the delay. That means in real time, while my singer is recording, they will hear the vocals a little bit sweetened, and that helps with the performance a lot. The better somebody can hear themselves sounding, the more pleasant they feel that they sound, the more they are able to give in the performance, the more confident they become, and the better the performance that you get. So if you can enhance it with the reverb and delay right away, then that will help the performance. But I have it on send channels, not on this channel, so that it will not record with that reverb and delay, because I will want to change that when I'm mixing. I will want to customize it to fit the rest of the mix. So I'm not recording it with the reverb and delay, but they are hearing the reverb and delay while they are doing the performance. Another thing you can do, and this one I would actually do it on the channel, is use a compressor. It's not something that you need to do, it's just something that I prefer to do so that I get a flat enough signal right from recording. The reason I find that useful is when I'm listening back to the recordings, when I'm listening back with the singer or whatever, I want to hear it as flat as possible so that I can hear little clicks and pops a little better. I can hear everything a little bit more fine-tuned, so I have a better idea of how it's going to fit in the mix at the end. If it's not compressed, then it's a little bit further from what you're going to get in the end, and that can be a little troublesome in terms of choosing the best takes and so on. Another way you can get around that is you can set a compressor on the channel that the audio is going to be. So if I set a compressor here, I might tune it based on the singer while they're performing. So I might send the signal fully and then tune a compressor for that signal. usually a fast compressor with a very fast release. So what that gives you is it gives you a very transparent compression, but it still levels everything out well. Once I have that on there, then I can start recording. Also, I will send signal from that channel to my delay and reverb, so when I'm listening back, it sounds a little bit more polished. It's more pleasing for me listening to it, but more so for the vocalist when we are choosing takes. Once you have everything set up, then you can go ahead and start recording. So put your cue at whatever point you want to start recording. So let's say I want to start here. Put my cue here, hit the record button and click the play button. Now, I'm an advocate for recording full takes as much as you can, meaning the full song as much as you can. If you do it piece by piece, then the singer might be energetic for the chorus and then they might lose some energy in the verses, or their voice might not have been warmed up for the chorus and then the voice will be warmed up and sound a little different tonally in the verses, or so on. So if you can do entire takes, then you can have very consistent tones, you can have very consistent energy levels, you can have very consistent performances all around for the entire song. Alright, so let's see what that goes like when I start recording. Alright, so I have my recorded vocal and you will notice that it is set to track 2. Now if I play it back, then it will play through track 2. I cannot sing, so I will talk. Talking is fun, even when I'm running, even when I'm breathless. I do athletics, but I'm crazy. Hello, Miss Daisy. Okay, so we have our clean and clear signal. If you notice, the levels are very consistent. That is because of the compressor that I put on it, but you can still not really notice so much compression because it's very transparent. Alright, so that's it, and then you have your vocal take. Another thing I would recommend is, if you're going to do it in pieces, then you record the first piece to channel 2. When you reach the next piece, you can send it to channel 3. So that way, when you record, you can have, let's say, your main vocals on channel 2 already routed for you. The next one, you can have it on channel 3 if it's your backup, or let's say it's a guitar lick or whatever it is, then it will be on channel 3 and then you will have no problems because everything will be already organized in a sense and it'll be easier for you to navigate through them. Alright guys, so I think that's it for recording vocals in FL Studio or recording any audio in FL Studio. If you have anything that you would like to know, you can ask in the comment sections. If you have something that you think I should have done differently, please let me know. If you like anything that I did and you learned something new, you can also let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching and have a good time making music, guys.